let's do this first one. When a broker hires a salesperson under a valid independent contractor agreement, which of the following is correct? What do you think?
So this is a 1099, so that means that they don't control what the salesperson does.
Yeah.
So the broker would not be liable. So I know that that's not right. Well, no, actually, no, that is right. They would be liable.
Okay, so going with this one?
So B.
Remember, go with your first impulse, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good job. You're already moving. Here we go. Here, I'll read them, okay?
Okay.
Personal property used in a business, which is attached to the property, is an amenity, a trade fixture, a fixture, or a business amenity.
Fixture. Is that right?
No, remember the key word here is business.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that's a trade fixture. Is a trade fixture personal property or real property?
Trade fixture I thought was real property.
No, that's personal. That was the other giveaway. A fixture is real property. But a trade fixture is personal. Because you think about the dentist chair, even though it's attached to the ground, the dentist takes that chair with him when he closes shop.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like with things that are specific to a business, because the next person moving in may be a podiatrist or a different type of doctor, a plastic surgeon that doesn't need the dentist chair.
Okay. So fixtures can be removed. Trade fixtures.
No, fixtures go with the property. A fixture is personal property that is now considered real property. Okay?
Got it. Okay.
A trade fixture is now real property, now is once again personal property.
Okay.
Okay? We're going to see that one again, okay?
Okay.
Which of the following types of depreciation would be the most difficult to cure? Economic obsolescence, functional obsolescence, physical deterioration, or residential deterioration?
Yeah, this is one of the ones that this is a good one. Secure is the part that throws me off. Because my first one would be economic, because that's outside your control, right?
So then go with that. Please remember your first impulse.
Okay.
And you're proving my theory right. You're saying my first thing is economic. I clicked it because that's the right answer.
Okay.
Okay? But let's talk about it for a second. So you're not just guessing, you're a little more confident with it. Okay? First off, residential deterioration you never hear of in any of your books. It's no such thing. So don't circle it.
Okay.
And that goes with my theory. Don't circle something you've never heard of. Okay?
Got it.
Physical deterioration is your house breaking down. Okay?
Yep.
How do you fix that? How do you fix like your house breaking down, like the patio has a crack or the door's not working? What do you do?
Fix it.
You fix it. You just get a repairman to fix it, right?
Yeah.
So that's not difficult to cure. You just get somebody to fix it. Functional obsolescence, what's that?
That's when I'm thinking something's like the roof or something is impairing your ability to reside in the residence.
Right, so like a good example is like a one bathroom when you have 6 bedrooms.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, now it's a little more difficult to fix, but can you fix that?
Yeah, you can always add to the house.
Yeah, build a bathroom or change one of those bedrooms to a bathroom.
Right.
Okay, what's economic obsolescence?
So that's again outside your controls. That would be if, say for instance, there is an increase in violence or
right. So if there's like murder in your neighborhood, what do you do?
Say that again.
If there's like murder in your neighborhood, extreme violence, what do you do?
I mean,
you move.
Right. You move.
Right. The other two, you would fix it one way or another. Correct?
Right.
Yeah. If there's like murder in your neighborhood, you're like, sorry, see ya, people. It's been nice knowing you. Right. And if
Right.
there's like an airplane, an airport built, what are you going to do? Take on the local authorities to not build the airport? No, you're going to move.
Right. Nothing you
Okay.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can do things to stop the murder in the neighborhood crime watch. You can fight the government about airports, but at the end of the day, that's the hardest one to cure by far.
Right.
Okay? When a real estate broker speaks of a tax shelter, he or she is referring to principal payments, net income, income tax, or real property taxes. Which one of those?
Um, let's go with income tax.
Good. Okay. Which of the following would not be considered an appurtenance? An easement, trees, trade fixture, or a swimming pool?
Would not consider a permit. Okay. So, I'm going to say, I don't know, trade fixture? I'm trying to think of, because easement is definitely one, right?
Okay, so we're going with that.
Oh,
No. Remember what a trade fixture is? What would we say a trade fixture is?
no, that was my answer. My answer was trade fixture.
No, you said easement. Oh, you said easement's not one of them.
No, I was going over the ones that would be considered appurtenance.
Oh, okay, my bad. All right. Well, we're gonna do that one again, okay?
Yeah,
Basically, what I'm trying to do is push you to not overthink it. That's what I'm trying to do. Even if right now you get it wrong, that's okay because we're practicing. But I'm trying to get that mentality. Okay. Pedro sold Happy Land to Josh. At the time, Happy Land had an appurtenant easement across Pleasantville, which was owned by Jethro. When Josh tried to use the easement, Jethro protested. Which of the following is correct? So,
okay, I gotta read that again. So, Metro sold Happy Land to Josh. Okay, at the time Happy Land was had an appurtenance. So, if I remember correctly, appurtenant easements do not transfer. All right. Hold on. So, which was owned by Jethro. So I'm kind of confused because I didn't think that the easements transferred when you.
so let's pick one and then we'll talk about it. I want you to try before we talk about it.
Okay. B or take the second one.
Okay, so easements, appurtenants do transfer with the land.
Transfer.
They do. That's the word appurtenant means. Appurtenant means it goes with.
Okay.
Like sometimes you may talk, like you said you had a child.
Yes.
Like when they're talking, you may say that's not appurtenant to the conversation. It's like it's not relevant. It doesn't go with the conversation.
Huh. Okay.
So it goes with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, which of the following is not essential to the creation of an agency relationship? A fiduciary relationship, agreement to pay consideration, competency of the principal, or consent of the principal? Which one?
Essential, not essential. C, the third one. Maybe it's not. It's probably consent.
Okay, do you remember your essentials for fiduciary relationship? It's accountability, confidentiality, obedience, loyalty, and disclosure.
Right.
All right. On that one, it's not consideration because when you think about your essentials, accountability, confidentiality, obedience, loyalty, and disclosure, consideration is not one of them.
Oh, so I thought that was part of the
essential contract,
right.
not an agency.
Oh, okay. So that's the key there. So agency. Okay,
Yeah, you were thinking of the essentials of a valid contract.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Personal property is used in a business which is attached to the property. Personal property used in a business which is attached to the property would describe a fixture, a trade fixture, a business amenity, or an amenity.
Okay. So trade fixtures.
Good. That's what we went over before. Like whenever we get it wrong, we're going to see it again. Okay?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
We're going to keep going at it until you get it right.
Okay.
The Federal Truth in Lending Law, Regulation Z, gives the borrower a 3-day right of rescission when the loan is A, a purchase money loan secured by a deed of trust on commercial property, B, an FHA or VA loan to purchase a single-family owner-occupied residence, C, a loan secured by a second deed of trust on an owner-occupied single-family residence when the money is borrowed subsequent to a purchase, or D, a conventional purchase money loan secured by a deed of trust on a residential property. What do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. This is one of the ones that I remember on the state that I blanked on. So this is one of those terms. This is one of the ones that I don't really get.
Okay,
right.
just give it a try, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. All right. Charlie, C.
Excellent. Good. The big thing I want you to remember is that you're taking a test on residential real estate. Most of these laws are there to protect residential homeowners. Okay, they're not making this test to protect, big business people. Okay, so when they talk about owner-occupied single-family residence, that should help you narrow it down right there.
Okay.
Okay.
So this regulation Z truth in lending? Because I thought the 3-day of right of rescission is if the person decides, hey, I don't want to move forward with the contract, want to get my earnest monies back or whatever the case.
Right, and that has to do with all that disclosure. After everything's disclosed, they have the 3-day right of rescission.
Okay.
So the moment the lender discloses all the important relevant information, that you have a chance to look at it. You have 3 days to say not so fast.
Okay.
All right? Okay, the law that requires real estate contracts to be in writing to be enforceable is the parole evidence rule, statute of frauds, statute of limitations, or law of descent and distribution. What do you think?
First one. Parole evidence.
No, writing is statute of frauds. Time is statute of limitations. The other things are very simply stuff you never want to circle.
Say that again. What say that last part?
The other two things are stuff that's never going to be the answer on your exam.
Okay.
Okay? So statute of frauds and statute of limitations. You got to know those two, and they're super easy. Statute of frauds has to do with writing, and statute of limitations has to do with time.
Okay.
Okay? The term security interest is best defined as the use of stocks and bonds or other securities as collateral for a loan against real property, the interest payments on a conventional loan, the interest on an insured mortgage, the creditor's interest in the debtor's property. What do you think? Is it just me or do I sound like a game show host? I feel like a game show host sometimes.
I think it's the voice, but it works though. I'm torn between two answers. I guess let's go for.
So what do you think?
Let's go with D, creditors' interest in debtors' property. Oh.
Boom. Nice job. Yeah, it's a creditor's interest. A creditor is a lender. They got to know your property's value, correct?
Right. But couldn't it also have been B? Interest on the conventional loan?
I see where you're going with this, but the bigger thing is the property. That's always what it's all about.
Okay.
Because you always got to think worst case scenario. And if things don't get paid, that's how they get their money back.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Your part, got it. Oh, Lord.
An investor paid $300,000 for an apartment building, making a $75,000 cash down payment. 1 year later, the property increased 10% in value. This resulted in a $30,000 or 40% gain on the $75,000 in equity. This is the example of highest and best use, plottage, leverage, or none of those. What do you think?
Highest and best use?
Leverage, because when you borrow people's money,
Okay.
that's leverage. Okay?
Okay.
Because they paid $300,000, they only made a $75,000 down payment. So that means they borrowed $225,000.
Okay.
Okay?
So whenever I see leverage, I need to equate that to borrowing money. Okay.
Okay, title held by husband and wife may include all the following forms of ownership except.
Severalty.
Boom! So the options were severalty, tenancy in common, joint tenancy, and tenancy by entireties. Now this one could get confusing for people because, different states have different rules. Some people use community property, some use joint tenancy, and some use tenancy in common, right?
Right.
But the reason you got that right, because you say, you know what, I may not know the details of all these, but I know severalty means alone.
Right.
It means there's nobody else. It doesn't matter if it's husband and wife, best friend, father, son, business partners, whatever. None of that could be severalty. And this goes back to people knowing their vocabulary. If you know severalty means alone,
Right.
then you're going to get this right, even if you don't know the marriage rules for your estate. Okay, and if it's not severalty, the other kind is called a concurrent estate. And all these other things are different types of concurrent estates.
Yes. Got those. That's one that I do remember.
Okay, I'm gonna test you a little bit here. All right.
Okay.
What's the difference between a joint tenancy and tenancy in common? And that doesn't matter what state you're in. You got to know. Everybody does that.
So one right of survivorship.
Good. Which one is the right of survivorship?
Joint tenancy.
Excellent. Good. What is the one unity for a tenancy in common? So joint tenancy is time, title, interest, and possession. Tenancy in common only has one of those. Which one?
Wait, say that again.
Sure. Joint tenancy has 4 unities. Time, title, interest, and possession.
Yes.
Tenancy in common only has one of those. Which one?
God.
Is it time, title, interest, or possession?
Is it interest?
Nope. Because you could have different amounts of interest.
That's right. That's right. Joint tenancy is the only one that's.
You ready? You would both have keys to the house, so you would both have possession.
Okay.
See, when you think about it in more simple terms, like, oh, that's so obvious, right?
Right. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's like we both could walk in. You can't divvy up the couch. I
Right.
guess you could. I mean, everybody did in college, right? So it's severalty, okay, on this one, and that's a different concurrent estate. The big type of concurrent estate everybody has to know is tenancy, common, and joint tenancy.
Right.
Good. The law that requires real estate contracts to be in writing to be enforceable is the A, statute of limitations, B, law of descent to distribution, C, statute of frauds, or D, parole evidence rule?
So statute of frauds.
Good job. Excellent. Okay. Which of the following would not be considered an appurtenance? A, a trade fixture, B, a swimming pool, C, an easement, or D, trees?
Wait, your screen is frozen. Hold on. I'm still looking. Oh, okay, it just came up. All right, which of the following would not be considered an appurtenance? But not be considered. Oh, right, trade fixture.
Good. Remember we went over that?
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
Good. Nice job. An investor paid $300,000 for apartment building, making a $75,000 cash payment. 1 year later, the property increased 10% in value. This resulted in a $30,000 or 40% gain on the $75,000 equity. This is an example of A, highest and best use, B, none of the other options are correct, C, plottage, or D, leverage.
Leverage.
Nice. Good. And you see why we set it up this way, so when you get one wrong, it doesn't just go into the abyss. You go over it again.
Right.
And when you're doing your exams, if you want to look at it, it's all here. So if you just want to pop over, you don't have to wait till you finish all of them to see the questions you got wrong.
That's so interesting. I never even paid attention to those questions when I saw it.
Oh, man, all that design effort and programmers.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. We tried to make something unique. We had to get like a special programmer for our thing. Okay, here we go. Pedro sold Happy Land to Josh. At the time, Happy Land had an appurtenant easement across Pleasantville, which was owned by Jethro. When Jethro tried to use the easement, Jethro protested. Which of the following is correct? A, Pedro owns an easement that could give it to anyone. Pedro owns the dominant tenement and the easement upon it. C, Jethro owns a servient tenement and the consent must be obtained for Josh to use the easement. And D, an appurtenant easement always passes when the property is sold.
D. The last one.
Excellent. Good. Which of the following is not essential to the creation of agency relationship? A, consent of the principal. B, agreement to pay consideration. C, competency of the principal. Or D, a fiduciary relationship.
D. No. B is in boy.
B. Oh, okay. Here, well, we'll do this for you. Okay, good. So you got all that. We cleaned up those. We did those. How do you feel?
I feel a lot better. So I know that I need to start reviewing these questions a lot more. And like for this one example, I should have looked at agency relationship as opposed to, because a lot of times I go straight to the answers and try to figure out which one it's not.
Right.
Do it backwards.
So yeah. Okay.
Cool beans. Thanks so much, Joe. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.